The NBC has dispatched additional teams to some parts of the country where it has no presence, and we will now speak to John Ikondja, who is in Luderitz, to keep up the nation with what's happening there. John Ikondja, how are you? How is Luderitz?
Very good evening.
All right, thank you so much. Now, what are the prevailing crimes that actually happen in the town of Luderitz during the time of the festive season?
We experience our crime of concern normally is drugs. That's number one, and the rest of the crimes, of course, is a result of drugs and alcohol. Is housebreaking, GBV. And housebreaking, because our community members, we have members that are creating the market for stolen properties, and these people are committing housebreaking because they are going to sell in order to satisfy their drugs addiction.
Now, what are some of the strategies that the police have put in place to try and combat the struggle of drug abuse and that of housebreaking?
Recently, we had an outreach program where the community have spoken, where they said no to drugs, and more specifically, granting of bails to suspect of drugs. So we are giving awareness programs to our communities in terms of the danger of alcohol and drugs abuse. Yeah.
And, what are some of the success stories that have been coming out of this type of operations? Now that being, of course, what you just mentioned, that you work very well closely with the community. What are some of the other success stories that have come out of working of policing activities rather here in Luderitz?
In terms of, I can assure you that we have arrested many of the suspects. And the conviction in terms of drugs is 99.9%, I can assure you that. And as it stands, we have confiscated drugs in the excess of 38,000. That is only the drugs that the value could be ascertained. Yes.
Now, Blanche, also here joining me this morning, of course, the station commander also mentioned that they work very closely with the community to make sure that everything is, of course, settled in terms of crime, and of course that the community also works together with them. So here, with your permission, Blanche, I also have the chairperson of the Neighborhood Watch here in Luderitz. I have with me Mr. Manfred. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us this evening. Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, and good evening to the viewers.
All right. Just tell us, how important is it really to have proper communication and, of course, coordination with the police here in Luderitz?
Yeah, it just makes sense. Actually, it's common sense that the community need to assist the police and be supporting the police in their efforts to combat crime. It's not a one game, and that's why way back in 2021 we established a Neighborhood Watch unit, a chapter here in Luderitz, and we had, as the station commander were elaborating, very good successes. Obviously, all of that just because of the cooperation between the public and the police.
And what has the response been from the public who are not part of the Neighborhood Watch in terms of how they carry out their operations here?
Okay, it involves a lot of education. Initially, there was a lot of pushback from the community, mainly because they did not understand the concept. But I can tell you now that in the town of Luderits, we've got like 80% support of the community behind the neighborhood watch and police efforts.
And during the festive season, what message can you have for the public here in Luderitz, and also, of course, some living in the neighborhood, the areas closer to Luderitz?
One of the most important things and worrying factors for a coastal town, obviously, is we don't want any drowning. So we are telling the community, please, when you're at the beach, look after your loved ones. Keep an eye on the youngsters. And what we emphasize is it's not just of having kids there with an adult. That adult should be able to swim. The other thing that I'd like to mention is this is a coastal town and it's also a tourism hub. So we want the community to be behind all efforts of government to give tourists a visit that they will remember. And we have this trouble with people out on the street that's really harassing tourists, to the extent that we have some tourism companies that stopped and took Luderitz off the itinerary. So we are working hand in hand with the community to restore the trust in law enforcement and to make it a safe haven for tourists visiting our town.
Thank you so much. Your final message, Commissioner, to all the members of Luderitz and, of course, the entire nation during the festive season?
I just wish them a Merry Christmas and a very stubborn health to them and their families. To those that are traveling, please adhere to the speed limit. Do not rush, you will crash. And please drive safely for you to arrive in peace, but not in pieces.
Blanche, that was an update, of course, coming to you live from that is Area 7 in Luderitz. And I actually just want to have a small message by some friendly friends here from the town of Luderitz. I have with me here some of the community children here in the town of Luderitz, and they have a message that they want to give to the entire nation from Luderitz. Let's go, 1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas! Blanche, it's back to you.
Well, Merry Christmas to those children as well. And thank you so much, John, also from us here in studio. Well, that was our colleague, John Ikondja, updating us on the activities of the law enforcement agencies that's in Luderitz.